Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Thursday, August 28th edition of our video devotionals, and we appreciate you being with us today. Hope your Thursday's going well. We're going to jump into things kind of quickly here today. I've already done about 2 or 3 takes on this and just was going longer and just said some things that I was trying to back off on. But anyway, so here's if you hear this one, this is the newest take, and it's the freshest take and the only take, obviously, if you're hearing it. But I want to jump into it today. So we're going to be in Jeremiah chapter 23, verses 13, 14, and 15. Find that if it is your custom. Thank you for watching the videos. We appreciate comments, acknowledgments. I'm going to ask you to pray for my mother-in-law today. She's having cancer removal surgery from her head today. And if you remember her, I know she would appreciate that. Well, of course, in the news yesterday, we saw another school shooting. Sadly, I believe an 8 and a 10-year-old were killed, and many others were injured due to gunfire. The person who did this, I believe, is dead. I don't know if they were taken out by lethal force by law enforcement or they took their own lives. I don't know. Haven't researched it that enough. But again, saw enough of it. But all of a sudden, we're seeing the person and their lifestyle and all of that. And then, obviously, there's so much being said about this. And so we'll let the news take care of that part. But I want to do what I think is my part here and say something from the Bible. Now, again, I didn't go out of my way to find this in the Bible. I didn't go looking for it. My Bible reading today was from Jeremiah chapters 21 through 24, and this is what I was reading in chapter 23. So let's read it, and I'll tell you where my thoughts are today, okay? Before I do that, be in prayer for the families, the community, even our whole nation. We hear this, it's like we're all affected by it. The law enforcement, the people who's got to deal with it, teachers, the families, all those students that see these things, the ones that are still injured and living. So let's remember them in prayer, if you will. And I know we probably all are. Let's do that before I jump into this. All right. Notice what it says. Jeremiah 23:13. And I have seen folly in the prophets of Samaria. They prophesied in Baal and caused my people Israel to sin. So notice it's not the thugs, the criminals. It says the prophets have caused my people Israel to err. Notice verse 14. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem. Notice the land was divided by 2 kingdoms. The northern kingdom was considered Samaria. Israel is the name. They called it Israel. And then the southern kingdom, Judah, and that was centered in Jerusalem. So now it's talking about the prophets in Jerusalem. I have seen also in the prophets of Jerusalem an horrible thing. They commit adultery and walk in lies. So their own character is awful, the prophets themselves. But notice this is what I want to zero in on today. They strengthen also the hands of evildoers, that none doth return from his wickedness. They are all of them unto me as Sodom and the inhabitants thereof as Gomorrah. It's pretty strong language. Verse 15, therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood and make them drink the water of gall, for from the prophets of Jerusalem is profaneness gone forth into all the land. It ends there with the prophets are the problem. That's kind of what we're talking about here. With this school shooting and others that have occurred, and just looking at those crimes against humanity, and many of these against children, it's been noted that there is a lifestyle that has been noted in these shooters. Okay. And you can read the news, you know what it is. So I'm purposely not saying it because you're going, well, yeah, you're piling on, you're being driven by the media. No, I'm not. But I want you to listen here. It's one thing when people decide to do evil and do wrong. We understand we were born with Adam's nature, and not everybody goes down the dark path that some do. But in general, of course, generally speaking, we're all sinners. We all have a nature that's contrary to God, and we can do some pretty horrible things. So there's people that can choose lifestyles just based on their own heart's condition without any assistance, if you please, any background at all. You know, we can all blame society and all the ills and all of that. And I know there's influences that can really accelerate these things or whatever. But let me just say this. When someone has a lifestyle that's wrong, and if they ever get the idea that it's right and there's nothing wrong with their lifestyle because a preacher, a pastor, a person who represents God in any form or fashion says it's okay, it's fine, and even maybe those pastors and those preachers, they even live the same lifestyle, which would be horrible. But I'm saying it is sad that if anybody can do what a person did, because they thought somehow they're okay with God and it's right, and they live a lifestyle that's contrary to God, and another person who represents God says, oh, yeah, that's fine. There's no problem there. As a matter of fact, God even condones your kind of love and you're okay, you're fine. Let me tell you something. What you do is you mess up the minds of people. When you give that kind of false doctrine, that kind of false narrative that God says it's wrong, it's evil, it's wicked, and it goes to show you when you go against God and someone has told you it's okay and it's not against God, that's what Jeremiah was dealing with. And God had to pronounce judgment on the nation. And one of the problems, big problems, is the preachers will just say, the pastor said, it's fine, everything's fine. And Jeremiah don't know what he's talking about. Let me tell you something. There may be times I may not know what I'm talking about, but I'll tell you what, I do know what I'm talking about. If I'm preaching the word of God and there's a lifestyle or any sin that's wrong, and I don't stand up and preach it, and especially if I stand up and say, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with that, knowing that if I'm doing it for the favor of the people, or even in my own deceived mind, I think it's fine, but God says it is wrong, it is wicked, it is evil. Let me tell you something. You mess up the minds of people, especially young people, and that's where we find these things that can happen. When people live a wicked lifestyle, and if anybody says it's fine, let me tell you something. It's wrong. It's wrong because it messes with the mind, and it's an evil in society, and it's dangerous, to say the least. Okay, so let's remember those families. Let's do what we can. I'm gonna do my part to stand up and preach what thus saith the Lord. I'm not gonna mess up anybody's mind doing that. Maybe I can stop some things, perhaps, but I know this: God is right, man is inherently wrong, and when we got saved and got God's nature, then there's the best thing that can happen to us. And let's do the best we can to help others know what it's right to know God and live a godly and righteous lifestyle. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow, Lord willing.